Good, beautiful morning, everybody. This is Thursday, March 16th, 2023, and this is Midnight Brands coming to you once again with prep for this day, which I already said. Was a pretty nice chop day yesterday. Hopefully, folks are able to find some good levels there and capture some with those lows. And man, what a late day afternoon squeeze there. It was pretty nice. Before we get into it, just a reminder, we are not financial advisors, analysts, anything of the sort. Nothing we say is any sort of recommendation to buy or sell. There's lots of risk involved. As always, do your own financial due diligence. Read our disclosures. We have, this is not any kind of recommendation by any means at all. So, hope everybody's having a great one, and we're going to go ahead and get started here. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How you doing?
Fantastic, my man. Oh,
I'm doing great.
it's always good. That's always good. How was your day yesterday, man?
It was alright. Had some tech problems, so didn't get to take advantage of things like I would have liked, but could have been worse. So you?
How's the perspective on things?
Yep.
Yesterday was cool. Just had some issues in the morning, but left and took care of those, and we're good.
Nice. I mean, you get more phone calls than I used to back in the day.
Oh, for real, man. My phone kept blowing up. I was like, jeez. And look, just speaking about it now. It goes ringing. It's not even 7 o'clock yet. I'll be right back. You can start off with
Sounds good, man. Alright, well, with that, we'll go ahead and start with our friend SVXY. Again, really just switched to this as opposed to UVXY because XVXY was getting some bigger range. Like there's some days where UVXY was trading like a whopping 18 cents, and so it made it really hard to, there just wasn't, the levels just weren't turning out to be that great. So that was really what drove our switch over to SVXY. He'd been on our radar for a while. He kind of tracked it here and there. In any event, the levels for this one for today are actually kind of clean again, which is nice. Let me just scroll back to the top so you can get it pulled up on the screen here. Nice. Him looks like 2 to tick on the 200 day there yesterday. Is pretty nice on that one. Which is a nice level again with monthly trend guide 3. Can't see what the other one is behind there. And also have weekly trend guide reversal on that one. So that is actually a pretty nice and key level there for us here today. And some other good ones. Going to copy this stuff over here once. Quick second. Prep and gone for Thursday, March 16th, 2023. Okay, so and then right above that one, we have our annual pivot point, trend guide reversal, and we also have the tier 1 end of week cheats in there. And then if you move up, like we didn't mark trend strength reference point, it's there. It is kind of in the middle of a bunch of other things. Obviously, we're coming down into it. And there's a swing AV from the lows on that particular one. But it just, it's obviously right inside of that key range yesterday, so it just wasn't high on the list of things that we were worried about. Along with above that, you get your monthly trend guide 2, and there's a couple swing AV there. In fact, the more I look at this one, I think it's just going to take this particular one off. Okay, so then you get to, a good bit of open space there up until trend guide So it does look like, just kind of glancing at the screen, I'd say it's maybe 50%. Just kind of glancing in here is how well it pays attention and cares about the NV box. It's really something more for the bigger stocks like Apple, Amazon, Tesla, etc., versus something small like this. In any event, if we look up, again, you got trend guide. You have a swing AV WAP right in that trend guide area there. So we expanded a little bit, and then you also have your tier 1 daily cheat there. And then moving up further is where you get the March 7th daily anchored VWAP from the highs, which is back over here, which is kind of that double top we talked about back then, saying, what if we come up and hit that? And that, sure enough, was kind of the top back then. So you get that along with, again, monthly trend guide and weekly pivot. And then if we decide to really go, then you can see full ADRs is up much higher, combined with the 20 and 50 day EMAs, and also the quarterly trend guide reversal. And we also have a tier 2 daily cheat there. So pretty straightforward on that one. I'm just going to go ahead and mark that after I get the mouse in the right spot. Obviously tell in the mornings that I've done a reboot and have not used Light Shot yet. There we go. So this was the div that we're talking about, and we expanded it, obviously, as you can see. And we have that zone. This we kind of combined. And then we have two bigger zones down here. So that is SVXY.
So what's your question for DC?
Yep. Okay, so VIX. Yeah, sometimes I love VIX, sometimes I hate it. Like when it gets to these really wild kind of snap moves, it makes some of these pivots just not line up in great spots. So that's kind of why you see the annual pivot, quarterly trend guide. It's a pretty wide zone, but those are all pretty important, especially the annual pivot with the quarterly pivot. So it does make it for a wider zone, but in my mind, it'd be kind of hard. I guess you could potentially break it up and treat annual pivot by itself and then quarterly pivot with trend guide, or just treat it all as one big zone. Beneath that, you get into 200-day, the tier 1 OPEX, as well as some other stuff there with gap fill, tier 1 daily cheat, etc. So pretty good size zone on that one there. And then you get, just looks like a div right below. I'm not sure, you might actually take this down looking back at this. Yeah, I don't know if I care about MPP here. I may just decide to take this div and pull it to try to capture this stuff here. Full ADRs is up there, but at the moment we're gapping up, so it actually would put full ADRs at this zone here from the looks of it, and not right there. Gotta fix that part. think that's how I would treat VIX there, like that. Don't capture the full ADR and the OpEx and the other stuff up there. So we just need to do that real quick. And that's actually going to keep rising, which would probably put it up there like that. And in fact, if we keep doing that, then we'll look at it more like this. Which would be a massive, massive move in the indices and everything else. If we do something like that, the full ADRs at the moment at least is way the heck up there. It seems high actually. I have to go back and look at that. Yeah, that's interesting. VIX is a little bit funky there. Did hit some upside extremes, which is nice. Could signal some ends. And definitely hit some upside ADRs. And yeah, we just don't like this 30-ish area. Like, we just want to keep trying to no closes above the 26-ish area. Closes above those 27s. Which puts us below trend strength and monthly trend guide. Oh, that is quite interesting actually. Anyway, and I don't know, I'd read a whole lot more into this one. It's kind of a mess, to be honest. Again, if you look, right, you got trend guide reversal, you got your OpEx cheat in there, tier 1 day, but then you just got weekly trend guide reversal just right above it. I mean, and it's definitely shown some rejection, but I'd say the monthly has seen a bigger one.
I agree with you about that. I wouldn't really change much.
No.
We already made a sort of a lower high, so it's like, you know, if it comes back up there again, it's probably gonna go. The quarterly trend guide might be more important.
Yeah, if it made it shoot past the weekly and go tag the quarterly and then fade off from there, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah. Or you just, like you mentioned, that like you have it there, create another lower high. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
At the trend guide, TGR. Yeah, but I like that. If I were to make any changes, just the 20-day and the 50-day with the dotty, I would make that as the actual level, and then the MPP as a div, and then highlight the daily dotty all the way down to the end of week dotties with the weekly trend guide. That's the only change I would do.
Yeah, I just didn't feel like changing it to be a rectangle. I got lazy. But yes, I agree with you. With the MPP ones, you would actually take and drag that down to the weekly trend guide. This one here.
Yeah, like I do the MPP by itself. Just the MPP by itself as a div.
Oh, see, I'm expecting full ADRs is going to come up and join in here because we were opening. If we open right now, it'd be about 40 cents higher, which would put us up into here, which would be into that tier 3 day cheat level. Which is why I kind of dragged it up.
Makes sense.
That full ADR is be based upon where we closed last night.
Yeah, it makes good sense.
just does. I can't. This to me, it's kind of a mess today. Like I said, I'll probably watch SVXY more than I watch this for clues. Okay, SPY. Alright, so rejected on Tuesday there, obviously, rejected that swing AVWAP from the highs. Looks like pretty damn well to the tick, along with the 200-day and weekly pivot, which makes for a kind of a good and a little bit wider of a zone today with WPP, swing AVWAP, gap fill, and trend guide reversal. Under that, right, we get our tier 1 OPEX sheet along with trend strength and trend guide and a swing AVWAP from yesterday's lows. And then I made this one wider again as well. You get your trend guide and bottom edge supply and demand with the wick from yesterday. Depending upon where and how we open, you could get photo ADR to slide up into there. Unknown at this point, I'd say, but it's really just kind of in the middle of nowhere. Like, maybe it'll stay down there and it'll join up with the tier 1 day cheat, but I'd want to see where other things are at the time. It's too in the middle by itself, and watch instead for kind of that lower level with the ADRs, the bottom edge of that range box, and then quarterly pivot as well as the monthly anchor and VWAP, supply and demand, etc. So that to me is the bigger zone. And shit, if we fail that, then I would actually watch for this zone down here, but I don't know if we're gonna mark that because it'd be a $10 move. If we get down there, then you certainly keep that on radar and watch it, but I don't know, pretty straightforward to me.
Yeah. Pretty good with that.
Actually, no, I don't like that. I was going to draw an ABCD, but the way that this one retraced half of its move, I don't actually want to do that. So, because there would be, had this not pulled back that way, this would have been kind of a nice A, and then this probably retrace the 38 level here almost.
The ABCD takes it to 20 day.
Yeah. I just don't like when they retrace that much. Like, this way from here. That was almost 50% just by itself. I guess if you look bigger, then it kind of lines up there, but in any event, the SPYs. That we made a bigger zone. And then we created this as a custom zone. Okay, Qs are next. And they are coming close to fix this real quick. Yep, they got pretty close. NQ actually has one there too, but it took its out from what I was looking at earlier. I didn't care for the fact that TGR is really kind of all by itself. I mean, I guess you could drag it down further, but it's really just all by its lonesome self there. And there's a little bit of structure going back through there into February.
Yeah, I see some structure there.
But it's really kind of right at that spot, so like.
Then you have March 9th high. Yeah.
I guess you could drag it up a little bit to kind of grab, but like which wick do you put more importance on? I guess you get 2 wick touches here. That takes it up. It only takes it up about $1. So then below that you've got the top of that trend line, MPP, weekly trend guide. What else is there? Supply and demand, tier 1 weekly cheat. And right now we opened kind of right in that area. Oh, it's been kind of a slow and steady fade. Really, we got a pop after the Credit Suisse announcement from Swiss National Bank, and it's just kind of faded really ever since. Hasn't really held up anything. Similar seeing it trend strength, similar on the lower end with trend guide. You can actually take it down a little bit and grab the swing A VWAP. And then below that you get the March 10th daily anchored VWAP with weekly pivot, photo ADRs. Full is in the middle with quarterly trend guide. Stuck in with the December 28th daily anchored VWAP and a gap fill in that area too. Sneaky one, seeing as how it's at the same damn spot as quarterly trend guide. I would expand it though a little bit so that you include the 200-day right there. And I mean that would be a kind of good size move, $8 move, give or take, which does start putting it up into some of the extremes. If we feel that, then maybe we come down and grab this as a div, this 287-ish area, which is some structure, as well as the looks like tier 2. Yeah. 287. Yeah, this would be the tier 2 daily cheat down here. I think you'd actually mark that as a div level because of the structure and do a lower high off of it. And the majority of people won't have this. And grab this structure back through here, back to January. And that's how I think I would call up and treat the cues.
Would you draw a little ABCD there from Monday's low?
I would, since you asked. It doesn't get a 50% pullback from yesterday. It's probably hits a 61.8 level, but it puts it up at full.
Mm-hmm. Just shy of the actual level there.
Well, it comes in and hits this weekly pivot, right? So, but yeah, it doesn't come up and grab that, but it does go up and grab the full photo and overshoots the tier 1 day dotty. And yeah, it looks like it's about hits the 61.8, I guess. Yep. Which would be kind of nice. It is the tier 1 end of week though, right there, that we're on now at 299. So yeah, 299.52 is the tier 1 end of week cheat, and the OPEX is where 282 to 319. So we're well within that range stuff there now. So. In any event, nice bigger zone. Expanded this one a little bit to grab some stuff over there, and then you get your monthly pivot one, and your trend guide, which we also expanded a little bit. In fact, you got the 20-day in there, but it's just been over and under this 20-day, like, so I don't know what I would have changed that actually. Well, it really looks like it's trying to reject this trend line here from the looks of indices and everything else this morning. It's not wanting to push above that at all. All right, ES. And while that does that, I'm going to turn this on. Make VAs. And I'm going to throw on the show initial balance, since we are now at Thursday, so we can see weekly IB stat, and it lines up, from what I remember, with a couple of interesting levels. We'll turn off the overnight IB in 2s. If I fixed this last night, it'll show up, I think. Yep, cool. Right, yep. So weekly IB stat showed up right here in this kind of zone there. What you gotta say, Adam? And yeah, okay. Okay, so on ES, let's just start at the highs there and work our way down. So expanded out that first zone a little bit to include annual pivot, and looks like a naked VA there, supply and demand, which is already included. That's definitely getting up into some really major extreme ADRs. Under that, you get, and we expanded this a little bit there. So you get your weekly trend guides, got some structure there, full ADRs, which continue to kind of move down. They were up much higher earlier. You also get your tier 2 daily cheat in there, and you have a falling swing anchored VWAP as well. That would be, it looks like the one from the February highs is where that'd be coming from. And you could treat the next is, you get the 50-day there with the supply and demand. You could just ignore that, I guess, and just treat it purely as a div. But there was some structure at that 39.95 level in the past in here. You can see kind of right in there. You got 2 days of, you know, IB highs, not really IB high, IB low. And I kind of get a rejection there, so it's up to you. I liked kind of treating it as one, set it as kind of a lower high there. And then below again, you get that weekly IB stat, so that's going to hit kind of a nice area there. Got your 20-day, which has a daily anchored VWAP, just a touch higher. Your tier 1 end of week, you get lots of structure in there, right? This was last week's highs, sorry, Friday's highs there. And then this week's highs. So this is kind of that nice zone, and then you get to this much bigger one, which gets you to supply and demand, gap fill, 200-day, swing AVWAP, trend guide reversal, NVPOC. Really kind of a big zone there, and not wanting to get into it really. No closes at all on a 60-minute basis in that box overnight. I did not include WPP. It's there. There's a bunch of swing AVWAPs at it. It did see some reaction, but just if you wanted to, I guess you could treat it as a box by itself, weekly pivot and top edge, supply and demand. But do you really want to play in that area? It's just it's inside. Same thing with trend strength reference point. It's just inside, and really you can even argue the same thing with trend guide. But to me, the reason to include it is the potential to do a higher low off of that. So you did a higher low yesterday off of Monday. So take that, but you got an NVPOC in there as well, structure that 38.97, and then obviously the swing AVWAP right in there too. Fail that, and then why not just go back down, grab all that stuff there. It has been tested a lot of times, so that does give me some pause for concerns. You know, came in down through here, yeah, we recovered. This was kind of the gap fill stuff overnight on Sunday into Monday. World's not going to end. World is going to end, but just blew right through there. You know, kind of held it yesterday, but is it really going to hold a kind of fourth time coming back through that area? And then again, kind of lose that, and I think at that point you're coming down. You get the end of or weekly IB stat there, but then it's really the quarterly pivot, supply and demand, tier 2 daily cheats, and that's it. Like we start coming down in here, we start coming into kind of openness spaces. 38.07 has been a spot in the past, along with 37.88, but we really need to kind of hold this area here. Otherwise, I do think we come down and grab this quarterly pivot, double naked VAs, supply and demand. So this is a really important spot in my mind, this monthly trend guide. That 38.85, which I know is a bit higher, it's kind of between those two zones. So it would be really good to hold that kind of Ivy low from yesterday. Yeah, look and see what somebody's saying over here. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. There's a whole lot else to say there on ES. If I'm taking stuff in here, would really have to watch trend guide to see where things are at. To me, that's a 1, and really so is that monthly trend guide. Tier 1 daily cheats is a 1 just because it's been tested so many times there, and then would treat this kind of quarterly pivot area, would treat this as a 2. This is important to me, but not as big of a level as this one. So again, it's goring the zone, so 2, 1, 2. Upside, I think it's the same thing. This would be a kind of a double top here against overnight highs, and be a lower high from this stuff here this week. So 2, probably 1, because we'd be testing this again third time. So why not break it and go grab the 50 or something higher? So 1, and then 2. So that's at least kind of how I see ES there.
Good, bro. Is there any reason in particular you didn't want to do like an inside zone on the TSRP with the second day for B-Wap?
To the swing AVWAP comes up and joins the top of the. I made the trend guide zone bigger at the 3900 level, and just it's been through that area so many times. Like, I'm not gonna take a trade in there. So for me, like, it was just kind of a, I just wasn't gonna play it. So I didn't want to include it as a zone. Was my own personal thought on that one.
Understood.
It actually didn't. It picked up those ones you can see here, right? So it's got trend strength, and it's got, in my mind, way too wide. And I know why it's got it that wide, because of where the stuff is, but yeah.
Kind of the way that it pretty much has us. I kind of would have done the same thing with it.
You would have marked it like this with 3917 to 3903.
Well, not the 3903, but just the TSRP, because there's also, well, you have it, there's supply and demand, and then the anchor VWAP, and then just have that as an inside, very small zone, and then you have, I would take the trend guide all the way down to the monthly trend guide, have that as one bigger zone, and then all the way, like, open space to that quarterly pivot point.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of have mine, but I like yours. You're focusing more on the bigger stuff.
I'm trying to. I'm not saying I'll do it right.
There's no right or wrong.
Well, there is when you look at P&L at the end of the. And your mental reserves at the end of all of it too, for that matter. Okay, sorry, I was reading something there. So NQ. Oh, it's 200 week. I need to drag this down just a touch. Yeah, so this one here is what I was saying. It hit that overnight. That trend line, supply and demand zone, and rejecting it. So I think it originally had drawn it down to that level. 458, 460. Yeah, so you could go, I guess, either direction. You could take and have the zone down. In fact, maybe that is better. Just treat that more like a div.
I like that.
And this also gets up to last week's highs there too. And then just treat this, and I'm not going to change it to be a polygon at this point, but treat that more as a div. Some structure back through there and whatnot, so especially with not clearing that at all. So on this one I did mark the trend strength monthly pivot. It was separate. There's enough separation between it and trend guide that it felt cleaner to me to have marked that one. And you also got monthly pivot in there and weekly trend guide, and just kind of the way it's structured and set up just felt like a better one to mark. And with, I mean, Nasdaq's just been stronger in general lately, so.
Yeah, exactly. That was one of my points. It's just been stronger where you feel like you could hold that.
Right.
Like here, we're responding to that trend guide zone, and ES is already at its TSRP, but NQ is still some ways away from it.
Right.
So
Yeah, and it's.
ES goes and grabs its trend guide zone, then NQ will probably just stop at its TSRP.
Right.
Because it's just strong, relative strength.
Well, and it's trying to, we'll see if it does, but it's trying to effectively hold its gap fill, and I would almost be willing to bet that we look here at the lower or higher low I put in right here. Not quite. I was thinking it's going to go up higher, but it's close.
There's also a nice little structure there. If you look where it's trying to hold, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I mean, and these are hourly bars here too, so I mean, they're.
Yeah.
They're not no rinky-dink 5-minute bars.
Hey, I like the 5-minute.
I hear you. I have a couple of charts loaded with 5-minute too. I like my bars big and round. Oh wait, sorry.
Okay.
Wrong song.
Yeah, you kind of took a 0 to 100, did.
Okay, so under that trend strength zone, you get. I drew this one wider to include the trend guide, supply and demand, as well as the 20-day EMA there. I need to actually on the daily chart here get rid of this one and add a day VWAP here. I think this one's already been invalidated. I'm just going to double check. Yeah, maybe not. It's not terrible. It has 2 bars yesterday, 3 bars kind of close below. In any event, that is certainly a wide zone. You could break it up, but I mean, you could just say forget kind of TG since it always overshoots. Although NVPOC is right there with it. So I don't know. I think maybe you try there. You get, if it does come down this far, you get kind of an initial bounce. Maybe come back and hit something like surf or super surf. If we keep coming down this way, then you come down, hit the top edge of the zone, maybe bounce up a little bit, and then go dig deeper to grab the 20 and stuff. In any event, you fail that, and then I think that's where you come down and you get into this bigger block here, which we'll have to see what full ADR does, if it stays here at the top edge or if it moves up. Otherwise, you get that. In fact, I think you might even just say forget full ADR there. Just watch it like this. Treat that ADR stuff as a div, and just watch it like that. Because if we do go back and try to get the trend guide stuff, then that full ADR is going to move up, and it removes the need to have that zone that wide. I don't know, unless we get some really specific news today, like there wasn't anything big econ-wise or some housing starts. Actually, no, I take it back. Is that right? Is there really, weekly jobless claims and continuous claims for today? Is that right? That's what it says. Weekly jobless, continuing claims, and housing starts. Import prices, export prices, Philly index. Yeah, so maybe that econ stuff there does have some impact this morning. I'll have to see. Anyway, beneath that, you lose that zone, and then you're going to come down and grab the 200 tier 3 cheat there. Daily anchor VWAP from December 28th. Which is this guy way back here. Yeah. And that would be a pretty massive move there. We hardly traded anything. We only traded 86 points overnight. So that would be a 500, 480, 500 point move. So it'd be pretty big there. But yeah, I think that's it for NQ. Relatively clean. You could break this upside zone here real quick. You could break this into 2. It's up to you. I was treating it as one bigger zone to keep an eye on. Would not scale across all of it by any means. Would probably try some at the what's that, tier 2 end of week cheat. 630. So would maybe potentially try short at the bottom edge there, or wait till it comes up to the NVPOC, and then look for a kind of pullback cover, and then wait to see if we go and tag full ADRs. Or you could ignore that stuff and say I don't care about that crap, and just come up and grab it starting at annual pivot and ignore the NVPOC and whatnot there. But it is breaking on the daily side, that trend line there. Gonna call that there for NQ. but not up that high. That's another zone that we just removed altogether. And we said we're going to treat that as a separate kind of zone div-ish area. Alright, while I do this other stuff, I'll pull our TY there on the screen. Copy image. Okay, so man, RTY some days looks messy. Yep, smart call, man. Okay, so RTY upside, you get your tier 1 OPEX cheat from below. Your tier 1 end of week cheats, and I think I already said monthly trend guide, but in case not monthly trend guide. Under that, you end up with your 200-day weekly IB stat, weekly pivot point. Full ADRs is actually slid down, and you have a naked VA there. You could shrink this and just have it like that, and treat the 200 purely as a div, and kind of call it a day, I guess. That is certainly an option. And actually maybe a better one is kind of watch, especially with full ADRs having come down more as we've continued to fall overnight there. So I think it would actually do that. We could also bring that down to try to capture it, but if it would keep sinking here on RTY, which is obviously by far the weakest. We already tagged its trend guide reversal zone. And you can see its guides flipped yesterday. I think it's flipped every day this week on its guides. In any event, you get a div between these two here, and then a bit of a wider zone to grab some structure, monthly trend guide, supply and demand. Swing AV WAP is in through there. You did get a couple of violations in here, but like this is overnight hour stuff, and it's also again 60-minute bars. This one did get some good violation in here, but then it clearly rejected again. Go back and forth on this. This was overnight, but it clearly kind of rejected on that. You only got a couple bars above. Kind of news-driven stuff here the other day. So I am including that, and then you again also get your trend guide quarterly pivot. Losing that, you can see we already came down. We're blue really kind of right through trend strength, which is just in the middle of the last couple of days of stuff, and into this zone here, which gets your tier 2 OPEX cheat, trend guide reversal, weekly IB stat low, and there's a naked VA in there. Take that out. There's a small little div here with some structure, the tier 1 daily cheat, but then you break out below and you get to the weekly trend guide reversal, full ADRs, monthly trend guide 3, much bigger structure, that 1696 level you can see there on the daily chart, and supply and demand. So did mark a div below. You get on that div below, right, you get some gap fill stuff in there. talks, whatever else. So, any event, yeah, I think that's it. Keep RTY fairly simple, I think. It's interesting. I actually had already drawn it up actually as a oh, but it's lost the full ADR, so yeah, I don't really care about that anymore. Alright, well I typed this stuff out here into the other screens and whatnot. RTY. RTY. And then come back over here. Okay, so YM. Alright, I don't care about that. Yeah, full ADRs has come down further on this one too, so yeah, I'm just debating about how much I care about this one here now that full ADRs has continued to slide down, and the 20-day is in there. But the fact that it's all by its, I guess no, there's a daily anchor VWAP there. Yeah, it's up higher. So I think I would change this and just drag that down to include this guy, trade it like that. Okay, I'm gonna skip down below. So beneath that, you get a separate zone that we created, which is the weekly IB stat high, the tier 1 OPEX from below, which we rejected yesterday. We're actually on Tuesday, because we get that high yesterday. Excuse me. So we've been setting some lower highs against that. But in any event, we included that as a zone because there's a bunch of stuff there, at least in the things we track. And then you end up with your weekly pivot 200, swing AV WAPs and whatnot. And then you get to your quarterly pivot trend guy, which we couldn't even get to last night. So 32, 284, 244. And I don't know you really want to have a 100+ point zone here in YM. that is interesting. It didn't even want to get above kind of this stuff here overnight. I just don't think you want to create a zone that goes from 341 to 220. That's a 120 point zone. That seems really wide. In any event, underneath you get this zone here, which is really more of an inside zone because we pulled it to grab trend strength reference point before it did its little pull itself here. But it is still definitely inside nonetheless. And then I didn't have this on the chart before. So let's drag that up. That's now gets your weekly IB stat, which probably makes this zone 100 freaking points. 836. Not quite. Pretty damn close. But we can take it up to that level there. And since those are global horizontal rays, they'll show up on the chart, and you can keep track of that. Yeah, if we fail that trend guide reversal, I would expect we go dig down and try to grab monthly trend guide reversal 2 with full ADRs. And then of course if we fail that, then you get into that bigger one with weekly trend guide. So anyway, that's our thoughts with YM.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Yes, I know I should stand up. That's why my watch is beeping at me. So, tier 1 sheet. Monthly triggers 2 ADR. Alright. Come over here and paste that too. Alright, now let's look at, which one do I have loaded? GC. Let's look at GC. Hey, what the heck? This changed. Oh, no, that's right. I didn't get the GC. Didn't have time. Because I stayed up too fucking late. Actually, I don't know if I'd include trend strength reference point now that I look at it. I mean, it just, like, why? Like, it didn't even respect it coming through there. It respected the weekly trend guide reversal too. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you got some respect here on Monday, but like last overnight type of stuff, like it just blew right through it, and then it held respect at the tier 1 OPEX from above, kind of gap fill. Like it's almost kind of like, what does this one buy you if I don't grab the wrong thing? Like if that's not there, does that affect anything really? Are you going to take something there at that kind of level, or would you have wanted to wait and see? Like, I guess maybe you could have included it to done trend strength reference and weekly trend guide, but if you'd stopped out, you know, at any level a tick below it, I mean, 1914, then wicked down to 1910. I mean, 40 ticks, right?
Yeah, I could see that. Okay. Good point.
I did not include in here, but I'm going to, and I know we don't normally pay attention to this, but it's something that I've started trying to track. It's going to be using the futures hours, not
You talking about the weekly RV?
yeah. I need to back test and look at some of this. It's on the list of many things to check out. Because I think it should probably use the NYMEX hours for when gold, because gold opens at like 7:20. 8:20, like it opens at a really weird time, but I think it may need to use that. In any event, like it doesn't look like it mattered here. I'll keep it on just so I have a sense for CL when we come to it. And so the question here, actually I'll take that back, I'm going to delete it for right now. Is this zone here, because it doesn't include monthly trend guide, which was important. And so do you treat it like this actually? And then put less reliance upon, because we keep pushing, so like you just put less reliance upon those guys and really look at it like that. I mean, we came up to that 1940 level. I think you could potentially argue supply and demand there. Maybe that's curve fitting, but that sure does, I mean,
I think it's curve fitting.
yeah, that's that 1975. So the question becomes: is do you bother trying short there at monthly trend guide? Just now identified supply and demand. Or do you say, yeah, no, I'm not gonna try that. I'm gonna wait for the bigger zone above with weekly trend guide 3, photo ADRs, tier 1 daily cheats, trend guide reversal. And even that, like the way this thing's moving.
What if you just instead of pushing that zone to the top to include the lower end of the supply and demand, why don't you do it to the bottom to include
Yeah.
the small little teeny tiny response that we had just before it hit the monthly trend guide? Like if it wants to do like the lower high. Okay, I see what you're doing. Alright.
Do it like that maybe instead.
Too. No, that's good too. I was thinking something different, but that's good. That's actually maybe better. What I was thinking is just to kind of like you had two little separate zones, but the monthly trend guide one, take it from the monthly trend guide to what is that?
Right about there.
Yeah. And then you have your other zone where it was at. So from TGR to the weekly TGR.
Yeah.
It's like, say, if you wanted to do a little high, it probably would stop there.
Let me do this real quick. Those do not have it on there, so that's okay. I'm going to do this.
I didn't realize gold was already this heated.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, it rebounded massively. It kind of ticks me off because I was planning to get more of it at those 1800s and just I never went back and reloaded. I had some UGL calls and I never went back and reloaded when we came back down to this level here after this like 1800 to 1860 push, and we came back down and pushed it. Like I just never got any of it back. Okay, so let's see if this is going to finish drawing or not. Okay, there we go. Ooh, hold on. I don't want to pull that part through like that. Okay. And GLD is presently trading at 178.86. So it's just kind of right in this area here, kind of at this lower edge of a supply and demand. And its trend guide reversal is a buck higher almost. 70 cents higher. I'm trying to decide like, if I do pull it down to what you're describing, because we're right there now too already. Yeah, I think I'd more keep it with this just because there's still, you know, another $20 to even photo ADRs. And if I miss it, I miss it. But I think that's kind of how I would track and keep it. And then you just treat. Oh shit, you don't really want to do that because then this is a 15-point freaking zone. Yeah, it stinks because you kind of lose this spot here, 50. It's just, it looks wide, but it's really not because it's moved 100 freaking points in just a few days. This is actually a really wide zone, though. That's a 10. Oh, no. What's 10 freaking points? Not ticks, but points. Yeah, you can miss me. It's still really big, though. With how that's structured, I could treat it actually more like this, I think. It just feels like it wants to go back and really grab the other side of the 20-day and 50-day symmetrical extreme again. With the way that it's moving here.
What is that? Another 2.5%?
Yeah. And that puts it up at full ADRs really there, give or take. Bottom edge supply and demand and whatnot. But yeah, it's at 3-ish now. And its most recent ones, most recently was up here, it's 5 plus, so I think you get rid of this swing AV WAP here. And go like that. And I think we keep it this zoomed in too, because it's going to be easier to see everything. And actually, one quick point, I made this in somewhere else, I think last night, I don't think I mentioned it in here. Gold and oil, its OPEX actually end today, because they don't actually, when February's OPEX stuff came around and it was setting up everything for March's OPEX, it didn't have an expiry for tomorrow. Its expiry for the gold and crude future contracts expire today. In fact, it when I logged in this morning, rebooted everything, it prompted me to roll my crude contract, and crude wasn't, it was still trading higher volume on April, and so I kept my contract there as opposed to rolling it. I don't know about you, but that's just, I didn't feel like it was ready yet to roll.
Hey. Save this.
So we didn't include the weekly trend guide 3 in this one. It's there as a potential div, but it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. Like there's not this 1950 level here. It just didn't spend a bunch of time in. ABCD completion, full ADR, supply and demand. GC. Okay, well that does that. CL. Come over here. Live trade. Got that. Got in here. GC. And here, I am going to pull that back over. Huh. Gonna have to look at that. Okay, so crude. Good kind of rejection off of quarterly trend guide, trend strength, monthly trend guide, reversal 2, swing AVWAPs in there. It's trying to, with the chin of its chinny chin chin, hold that weekly trend guide 3 gap fill from yesterday, or close from yesterday. Like, still hasn't had a candle close below that yesterday gap fill. If we do, then we definitely go back and kind of test this area. Maybe we do a lower high. There's some structure at the 6612 level in the past. It's the tier 3 end of week cheat. But lose that, and then we're going to go grab kind of the photo ADRs, trend guide reversal, monthly trend guide 3, weekly trend guide. And crap, if we don't hold that, then I wouldn't pay much attention to the supply and demand. I'd be watching more for this bigger stuff down below. It was $7 yesterday, give or take. So we've traded $1.63 today. So it's definitely a possibility for that low side stuff. Of course, everybody is looking for, at least the sentiment that I see on Twitter and other places, is all still calling for lower lows there. So why not juke everybody and go grab this stuff up above instead today and then fail Monday next week or something like that. But it is, I was looking at this last night too. I've noted this before a few times. Can I draw it in here? Like a just regular drawing thing? No. It's kind of setting up this H pattern. It's been doing this for a while. So do we do the same thing here? And just set up another kind of H type of thing? Who knows? That's just something that I've noticed.
Right. That's if that 480 hours level, that's a pretty huge level.
Mm-hmm.
If you look on the weekly or even scratch up the daily chart, you'll see there was many pretty big demand zone back in May of what is this?
Yeah.
2020, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some bigger stuff back in here, right? You know, even the 66 level too, right? You look here on this stuff. That's to me like why 66 is so important. Like coming back into May and stuff of 21, and then I'm sure if we go further back,
100%. On the weekly, it's super clean. I mean that the low pretty much today so far was the week of December 24th.
Oh, and I didn't see that yesterday either. Here's the weekly. It hit the 200 SMA.
Yeah. I mean, it's still, the weekly link of VWAP is still valid as of right now. So
Yep. Yeah, I had my dates wrong yesterday, unfortunately. I don't know why. I think it's because I had a daily anchored one in there, and I was thinking about that when I said weekly. But yeah, it's weekly from April 24th is, it's right there. I mean, yeah, hold that, man. Oh, shit, indices. Damn.
Hold that, yeah. That would be one hell of a track. Imagine you hold that and go back inside your box.
Somebody's going to put oil back in its box. Got the dad jokes all week. Oh, it was a really shitty one.
That was bad. Oh, man.
You can call me out.
Oh, sorry, dude. That was bad.
Do you think we'll take this, though? And just grab the top of supply and demand, not make it go deeper. And that structure there with the tier 3. And that's the other thing, like, this is the tier 3 end of week cheat there. I so wanted that one. I was still arguing and fighting with a certain vendor whose name shall not be named about their platform freezing. And so I didn't want to get in. This was also really close to this spot over here. Like, this is obviously a big ass candle. This is the 1 o'clock candle. Like, you're so close to pit close and stuff. Like, but it was a good level. It was prepped there too with that tier 3 end of week cheat. So like, yeah. But anywho, to me those are kind of clean spots here today for CL. I'm just gonna mark that, especially because we're at desired time. Gonna ignore a lot of that crap above. It is possible we trade $7. That's why it's there. Could go back and reclaim all of that stuff and close above the tier 1 end of week, which would just screw everybody over. Close out the contracts today. All right, well, that is my oil.
Yes, indeed.
Steel. All right, you got anything else you want to pull up, take a look at?
No, man, this is really nice. Good work. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Have a good one, man.
You as well, man.
All right, see you. Bye.
Yep.
Okay, folks, and that is it. I'm going to wrap a few last things here ourselves and go ahead and check into a few other things. It's a nice little push there off a trend strength reference point with ES coming off of those lows there. Held that that kind of bottom edge one, which we went back and forth on. Do we mark? Do we not mark? So kind of interesting on that one. Yeah, sure, it's there. It's trying to hold that swing AV WAP and stuff. It wasn't one that was super interesting to us, and it's sucks, but it just wasn't the one. Had we had our entries, swung our entries overnight from the 3980s, or sorry, 3880s and stuff, yeah, maybe it'd been a spot we would have liked to have added. Our entry was at 3911, which we got stopped out at overnight at like 3920, if I recall correctly, in our swing account. So, in any event, hope these are useful. And one maintenance note here, like there is going to be a spot in a couple weeks. We're going to be out, and it is likely we're going to be out not this Friday, but the following Friday. It depends. We've got a summons for something we got to go check out, so it may not be around in a few weeks there. So in any event, hope everyone has a great one, and